Your self-doubt is productive, just not for you. What we call self-doubt often shows up when clear perception meets real consequences. When clarity feels dangerous, hesitation becomes adaptive. So remember, you were never uncertain, but you were trained to hesitate. Your self-doubt is productive, just not for you. Self-doubt doesn't mean that you don't know. It's learned hesitation when what you know becomes risky. There's a specific tension that many Black women live with. It's not confusion and it's not indecision. It's the pause that comes after intuitive understanding. It's when you tend to see things early, you feel shifts before they actualize, and you recognize patterns while others are still calling them coincidences. But over time, you learn something else. You learn that being right doesn't always make things easier. Sometimes, in fact, it makes things harder. So your system adapts. And it didn't adapt because you lost clarity. It adapted because that clarity started to come with consequences. If you're a Black woman who is deeply in touch with your intuition but still finds yourself pausing before trusting what you know, this space was built for you. And I'm not here to teach confidence, nor am I here to push decisiveness. But I am here to help you understand why hesitation ever made sense in the first place. Most Black women aren't doubting ourselves because we're unsure. We have doubts because we've learned to calculate risks. More often than not, you've seen what happens when clarity disrupts comfort, when accuracy threatens authority, and when truth makes other people uncomfortable. So what looks like hesitation on the surface is often strategic awareness. So I want to ask, how many times have you noticed something early on but still waited for multiple signs of confirmation? How often have you felt sure in your body, then turned around and talked yourself out of it? I want to acknowledge that that pause and that hesitation didn't come from nowhere. If this describes your experience, I want you to type "I know" in the comments. Not for me, but so other women know they're not alone. Because what we call self-doubt often shows up when clear perception meets real consequences. In environments like that, hesitation isn't a flaw. It's a response the system knows how to work with. So this isn't about lacking clarity. It's about understanding the conditions that you've been navigating. So while you may have developed a system to buffer or avoid consequence, it doesn't change the fact that illusion doesn't erase truth. It competes with it. It floods the environment with enough authority, noise, and consensus that your intuition starts to feel isolated. And isolation makes even clarity feel risky. So when clarity feels dangerous, hesitation becomes adaptive. So instead of asking, "Is this true?" you start asking, "Can I afford to be right?" And you're not asking this because you're weak. You're asking this because the system was designed to reward self-monitoring. And this shows up in real life in the situations where you sense that something isn't right, but you wait for more and more and more information to come out. It shows up when you notice a pattern early, but you convince yourself that you're probably just overthinking. And it even shows up in those experiences where you feel the misalignment on site, but you choose to bypass that knowing for a safer explanation. And those are just a few examples of what it looks like in real life when you delay decisions, not because of uncertainty, but because that clarity has consequences. So it's important to understand that in this context, what often gets praised as being measured, responsible, or careful is oftentimes strategic restraint that has been learned over time. It's what survival intelligence under pressure looks like. But this adaptation does have its costs. Every time you override what you know, you delay alignment. Over time, that creates fragmentation, decision fatigue, and loss of momentum. And don't get me wrong, the danger isn't in the pause itself. The danger is forgetting that it was a pause to begin with and mistaking it for your nature. So remember, You were never uncertain, but you were trained to hesitate. And I understand that what I'm about to say may sound redundant, but it is so important to understand the underpinnings of why this came to be. This came from growing up in environments where your clarity could cost you your safety, your sense of belonging, or important opportunities. And that cost is real. So hesitation became a way to stay intact, even when that hesitation pulled you further away from your own inner knowing. But moving forward and interrupting that pattern doesn't have to feel loud or overwhelming. And honestly, you don't even have to announce that you're making the shift in the first place. But what it can feel like is the absence of internal argument. It can be the quiet relief of trusting what you know on the first go round and moving forward without hesitation. And here's a reassuring truth. You don't need to spend hours on end rebuilding self-trust. You just need to stop overriding it. Reclaiming self-trust isn't about building something new. It's about starting right where you are. So for one decision this week, just one, do not allow yourself to override your first perception. And I'm not advising you to be reckless. In all of the work that we do here, it's imperative that you use your good sense per your own individual circumstance. What I am asking you to do is be honest with yourself. Do this with no explaining, no consulting, and no second guessing. Just allow what you knew or felt internally to hold its own weight. And in that moment, it's important for you to just take a moment and notice how it feels to move from that place. So if this video brought language to something that you've experienced or felt, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel because I created this space for you. And I want you to understand that this season that we're entering together isn't about fixing you. It's about restoration. And I want you to stay close because in the next video, we're going to be discussing urgency and how constant pressure fractures focus. So make sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss out and you get to participate in these conversations in real time. And with that being said, remember, Black women first, because clarity is the key to the future you desire.